So we are beginning again, and again. And I'm so grateful to have a chance to talk to you about what happened when I set some really clear boundaries for myself and for the people in my life and on social media so that I could take a few weeks to really gain clarity and just feel better given the circumstances that I was going through. For those of you who don't know, and by the way, if you're on the replay, whether you're here live, I'm grateful for your presence. If you are on the replay, if you would just put in the comments replay, let me know that you're here. Um, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments or send me a message because I would love to talk to you about these things. And maybe you're not comfortable talking about them on a comment in front of the world on social media. If that's the case with you, send me a message, please. So, also, StreamYard really likes it if you give permission for your name to be seen when you comment in here. Then I'll know that who's talking. I just learned that if you're commenting on the Let Our Words Flow Creative community, I won't be able to see who you are, even if you've given permission in the past. So, if you want to give me a hint, if you happen to be watching from there that way, I will know that you were here. Anyway, so what happened? You might be asking, what happened, Julie, that you had to create such careful boundaries? And I have these notes that I'm following. We're going low tech today because what I decided was this subject is so rich that I am going to make some shorter videos that will continue to illuminate the subject matter. Thanks, Michelle. That will illuminate the subject matter more clearly. And perhaps because there's a lot to cover. And this has really been a very meaningful time for me. But so, what happened in a nutshell? Um, some of you know, some of you may not know, that my mother died a month ago yesterday on August 17th. And hey, Sheila. Well, I'm glad that you made it. I'm glad you made it. Um, my mother died on August 17th. And uh, we've had a lot of loss in my family in the last couple of years. Lost my dad and my brother within 6 months of each other in 2021. And after dad died, had to help. Well, I didn't have to. I chose to help my mom um, pack up her house, cared for her in the immediate aftermath, got her settled in a new place, was very hands-on with that. Um, Went from that to I was trying to relocate to New Jersey, and then I wound up going back to California after my brother died, caretaking a family member. I say, in fact, I talk about this sometimes. I say I took a 9-day trip that lasted for 5 months when I was trying again valiantly to make things right for my family. So after my mom died, um, we were talking, my siblings and I were talking about services and the like. And there was a lot of conversation going back and forth about what we were going to do. And the one thing that I shared was that I could not attend a service. That was one of the dates that was being talked about was after the Saturday after the first week of school. And I just went back to work. It's ironic. Many of my friends are retiring, and I'm back in the workforce, not as a creative entrepreneur, but in a different iteration of my life. I'm working in a special ed department at the local high school. I work part-time, and in fact, I was working last spring, and then they created a position so that I could continue 3 days a week and still watch my grandbaby. So I feel like I felt like I could not miss the first week of school. So I could not go to services on the Saturday after the first week of school. I literally could not get there. And without me knowing or agreeing or having a voice, it was decided that service was going to be held on that one day that I couldn't attend. And it took me a few days to actually be able to speak about it. Didn't tell my children or anything. And when I finally could speak about it, I shut down and I put up boundaries with, well, social media. I didn't want. I cut off social media. I cut off family members with a crystal clear parameter on social media. I'm going to be gone until September 17th. And I did that primarily so that there would be I would not be able to engage with everything going on about mom services and all of that. I did not have the bandwidth to interact with any of that. And so I created this very firm boundary. And it was challenging for me because I feel so much love from all of you. And I get a lot of my endorphins from engaging with you. And it was challenging. There were times when I wanted to show up and I didn't. The only time I showed up was to schedule this. And otherwise, I was gone. I was creating content that you'll be seeing next week. That I've been creating content all along. I just haven't been here engaging, interacting, looking. And so that was the first thing. I just wanted to put that out there because when we begin again, when we choose to come back, when we start over, when we're overwhelmed, when our emotional bandwidth is all sucked up, that's what it felt like. For me, when that happens, I totally, or my natural bent is to withdraw. In the past, my bent to withdraw is unconscious. This time, my withdrawal was completely conscious. Or there's probably aspects of it that weren't. But for the most part, it was planned. It was carefully communicated. It was based on what I was feeling and how I could protect myself. And I feel like that's the best thing we can do. So, in my notes, I wrote the liberation of clear boundaries, which sounds strange because I didn't used to really understand boundaries. I didn't understand how important boundaries are. And sometimes it hurt me when people put up boundaries because I felt like they were shutting me out. And for me this time, that's why I felt like it was so important to communicate clearly, mindfully, lovingly what your boundary is. I shared a post on JJS Writing Camp about this. I wrote a note to myself from August 16th, right before the day before my mom died. And so I wrote to my past self the day before my mom died. And, I talk about how I don't feel anger toward my family for decisions that were made. And one of the reasons for the boundary was because I did not want my emotions to get so huge that I might hurt the family that was attending my mom's services. I wanted them to have their time without thinking about me or worrying about me, or they could just be themselves freely without thinking, is this going to hurt Julie's feelings? Part of that is me projecting because I know that's what I would be doing. When my parents had their 65th wedding anniversary party, everybody was taking pictures of themselves with their families with my parents. And my daughter Emma could not be with us that day. And I remember my sister-in-law saying, Julie, go take a picture with mom and dad. And I was like, no, I can't. Emma's not here. And thank you. I have some comments here that I'll share. Oh, Tamiko's in the house too. Dawn, thank you for that. Boundaries are very important. So good to see you, Tamiko. And thank you. It is so important to hold the process, to hold ourselves, hold our boundaries with great love. So that's the reason why I did it. That's how I did it the way that I did it. And adding the social media component was really good for me because I was able to really stay grounded And sometimes when I'm really upset about something, I will perseverate on it. And this way, I did not do that. I did a lot of reading, a lot of personal reflection, and a lot of hiking, working, of course, starting a new school year, working on my projects. I wrote with boundaries, don't isolate completely. I didn't isolate completely. And I wrote, stay true to your mental health. So I will be talking more about this in the days and weeks to come. I'm going to be making some more shorter videos. They won't be lives. So when we begin again, when we come back after something like this, what do we do? And so I'm going to give a couple of fairly quick tips for you to use. Again, I'll be making videos on all of these, so that you know. Hi, good to see you. I think that's you, Nisi, right? Nisi's here. I believe that's Nisi. So I'm glad that you made it. And Nisi, this goes to you because you had a question about, being overwhelmed and trying to come back. Yes, exactly. So I hope this helps. One of the things that I have done and that I did do, going back to school, ironically, I think I'm going to go back to school in January or next fall, get a master's degree, with the goal of getting a PhD or an EdD, actually, which just makes me laugh. But in New Jersey, I can get my master's degree for free. True story. I'll actually be going to the school that my mom went to for her bachelor's, which is kind of cool. But anyway, I digress. So when I went back to work at school, I have fewer hours to do my creative entrepreneur work. And when I started part-time at school last year, I was working 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I had this gorgeous morning structure that I set up. And when I was looking at my schedule, I knew that I have to do it differently. I also learned that by having a very set structure, by the way, free spirit, don't tie me down, that's me, has been reminded how lovingly gentle and beautiful a clear structure is. Just like the boundaries, it's like creating boundaries for yourself in your schedule. So I use this thing. My mom went to school at William Patterson. Back then it was William Patterson College. Now it's William Patterson University in Wayne, New Jersey. Okay, so this is what I use. I'm going to make a comment here. FocusMate. I use this thing called FocusMate. And it shows up on, yeah, there it is. Focusmate.com. FocusMate is a website where you can sign up to co-work with other people, one other person. And you can sign up for 25 minutes, 50 minutes, or 75 minutes. I just signed up before I got here in the last hour. So right now my schedule goes like this. I have a co-working partner. Now, for those of you who aren't super early morning people, that's cool. You do not have to follow my schedule. I suggest you do follow a schedule. So I work with people at 5 a.m., 5:30, and 6, 25-minute sections, similar to the Pomodoro technique, where you work for 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break. What I'm experimenting with this coming week is to do this. Then after the last session, get ready for work, and then be out the door by 7 a.m. I get off of work at 2:30 p.m. And at that time, you'll love this, Michelle. At that time, I'm getting into my car. I'm coming back to the manse. I'm changing my clothes, and I'm going to the Y, where I will walk on the treadmill and work on the weight machines for my upper body every day. I'm going to try it this week, Monday through, well, except for Tuesdays, because I have choir on Tuesdays. I'm a very busy person, which is why this really helps. And then come home, 5 o'clock, start with Focus Mate again. And I'll probably do what I have right now. I have an hour session to kick off from 5 until 6, and then do a half hour, or actually only 1 hour segment, and then have segments later in the day, like at 8 and 8:30. What I'm suggesting is that you don't do something that you don't do this at this level until you've warmed up to it. And be willing to try and fail. Try, fail, try again. Trial and error is something I'm not always so great at, because Samuel, my son, taught me about this. Yes, thank you, Sheila. Thank you. Yes. And Sheila, for those of you who don't know, her, a dear friend of mine. And she also lived in New Jersey for a long time. Yes. Oh, I didn't know that you went to Rutgers. And here's Sheila telling us some more about her background. Keene College. Back when I was a youngin', I flirted with a guy from Keene College. My friend and I did. I think we were in 7th grade, masquerading as high school students. He would come and run in our park. 37 years in New Jersey. Anyway, but what I'm asking for y'all to do, or what I'm suggesting y'all do, is to create some boundaries for yourself. Because it's great to create boundaries with other people. And I had a really great note that I didn't put here. I wonder what I did with that. But one of the things about boundaries is that you mindfully communicate, and you communicate with love. And I made up some journaling prompts, so I'm going to share those with you. Where'd they go? Okay. So the third thing that I'm going to, okay, here it is. I'm sorry, I'm going backwards and forwards. So I have these written down here, so if you want to jot notes to yourself. But with boundary work for yourself and with others, this first part, what is okay with me, is directly from the work of Brene Brown. And she says to say, that's not okay with me. It's as simple as that. With boundaries, that is not okay with me. What you're doing is not okay with me. And that's basically what I did following the situation with my mom. It's like, it's not okay with me. And I forgive the whole situation. I know that everybody's doing the best they can. Just like I'm doing the best that I can. The best that I can do is take care of my mental health and step back and ask for time. And I was very clear. And I wrote a letter to my family members, and I ran it by several people and said, is this okay? I don't want to sound too angry, and I don't want this to be a permanent thing. And I need it to be communicated with love and with that safety. So what's the clearest, kindest, most mindful way to state your boundaries to other people? So sometimes people with boundaries will be really rude, really abrupt. And that's why it's good to have people to run it by, to run those boundaries by and ask, am I communicating this with love? Am I communicating this so that people will know the door is open when I open it? And even if you say, I don't know when I'll reopen it, but just to stay in communication. In my case, my sister, my sister's an amazing human. We haven't always had the best relationship. And after Dad died, we rebuilt our relationship. We've been rebuilding it. And one of the things she said to me was, I will not talk to you during the time you set forth, but if you need to talk to me, please reach out and I will respond, which was great. And because I set the boundary, But I didn't say, it's like tomorrow. I think I might have even set the boundary where I said 2 days from now. I mean, I gave that boundary. And you can do that with yourself. You can tell yourself, I'm going to try this schedule. I'm going to try to schedule 1/2 hour a day for a week, and then I'm going to try 2.5 hours. And by the same way, be clear, be kind, and mindful in what you say to yourself. And if you blow it, guess what? The world doesn't explode. And as my son Samuel said to me, haven't you ever heard of trial and error? Because I was so afraid of him being hurt that I tried to make his world really comfortable instead of allowing him to get hurt and allowing him to grow from being hurt. And I was totally projecting because I had been hurt so much. And as a kid, I did not feel protected from my parents. I felt like I was out there. My sister actually had a dream. Sue, I hope if you're watching this, you won't get angry, but she had a dream where she was flailing around and nobody came to help her. And I don't want to get into stories right now about how I wasn't helped as a kid and how that made me ultra protective of my children. But Samuel's like, trial and error, let me fail. So now I do that with myself. I say, trial and error, Julie, you can fail. And I have so many times. So this is the structure part. Create a structure that works for you. Self-boundaries are also like self-parenting, deepening trust of yourself. And so if you say you're going to do something, make it a small thing first. So for me, I started the school year having sessions at 5:36 and 6:30. I learned I want to leave for work earlier. Yes, the Friday I got stuck behind a school bus. So I didn't really have time to acclimate to the school, greet my coworkers, drop my lunch in the fridge, none of that. Trial and error. Trial and error. Journal questions. Ask yourself these things. And you can like I said, I made out my plan. I'm not going to share my screen with you. I thought of doing that, but I'm just trying to give you the basics. Don't want to overwhelm the world. But are those of you who are here and those of you who will watch this replay? Okay, enough said on that. By the way, okay, I see there's comments. If you have any questions, I hope you'll ask. And if you're on the replay, I hope you'll ask those questions too. Michelle, thank you. Thank you. Michelle's my dear friend in Bakersfield. She is, Michelle is an incredible human. Talk about inspirational. She's one of my beloved, dearest friends on the planet. And she's like one of my Bakersfield lighthouses. A lighthouse is something, the light is shining out there all the time. So I can find it when I need it. So I can find Michelle when I need her. No matter how far away I am, I know that I'm safe with her. And Michelle's also really good at boundaries. She's really good at boundaries. I respect that so much. Mindful, yes. Great way to think about boundaries with love. No, none of my children attended. My family was not represented. Yeah. So it's really hard. And I'm hopeful that we will plan a service of some kind. I'm thinking of doing a birthday party in April. So, when my brother John died, he died in, I always forget the year, 2007 or 8. And my mom was like, there's not going to be a funeral. It's too hard. My last advocacy for my brother who had Down syndrome, and he and I were 13 months apart, and we were very, very close, and we could communicate telepathically. I would translate for him because his speech wasn't very good. And I said to my mom, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We would not be having this conversation if it was any of the rest of us, meaning any of the normal kids." And so I said, "I'll do it. I'll do his service. I'll plan it. I'll organize it, and y'all can show up." And it was an incredible day, not just because I was in charge. I'm not saying that at all, but it was very healing. And the feedback that I got was really good, including my mom said to me, "This is what I want. Something like this is what I want." It was in the park behind our house where we used to play softball, all of us. We'd have a big softball game and invite all our friends. And it was a potluck, and we had a circle where people got to talk. And she told me that's what she wanted. So yeah, I hope I can plan a birthday party for her in April. Michelle, hold me to it, will you? Anyway, I don't think Michelle. Oh, hey, Karen. There it goes. See, there's Michelle. This is Michelle. She's exactly Dana Point, Mom's favorite place. So, thank you, Tamiko. All right. So going back to, and I appreciate, I'm sorry. I know I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for anything. So along with the structure, the other thing that I do that really shapes my life is structure. And again, free spirit. I know it sounds crazy. Such a free spirit. I have a writing practice that I do every day. No, it's not morning pages. I wrote morning pages for years. I still use free flow writing. However, I created my own structure. It is called, sometimes I call it mining for content gold. Sometimes I call it mining for storytelling gold. And it is a set list of questions that I ask 3 times through, and then we have free flow writing at the end. Recently, I added a new question to the mix. And this question has been instrumental. And again, trial and error. Remember what Samuel taught me? Trial and error. So maybe I'll try this new question. So here's the question. I wanted to send it out to you as far as we were talking about planning and journaling. What do I wish I had done yesterday? What do I wish I had done yesterday? I use this question during Storytelling Gold. I also sometimes use it in my the process I use before I go to sleep, because I jot notes to my highest self when I go to sleep. What do I wish I had done yesterday? Simple question. Powerful question. It can be as simple as, I wish I had left for work 15 minutes earlier. I wish I had made that phone call. I wish I had worn a different outfit. I wish I hadn't procrastinated with my laundry. I wish I had set that boundary. I wish I had written that letter. I wish I had called Mom again, you know. Today at church, we have this thing that is called Joys and Concerns, where people in the congregation can say what they're happy about and what they're sad about. And I, of course, had to cry. It was joy. It was a joy talking about how grateful I am to the church for being able to live here in this house. My house belongs to the church where my daughter works, which is right next door. And I'm so grateful to be here. And recently they painted the front porch. Yes, it's Julie's writing porch. It's the front porch of this over 200-year-old house that I'm blessed to live in. And it was kind of a big deal getting the porch painted. And I felt really badly that I hadn't been profusely grateful or appreciative. And so I thanked them again for allowing me to live here for very ridiculously lower than market rent. And that I was just so glad, because I get to be with my grandbaby and I get to be here. And I had no idea the first time I came out here 2 years ago that I would still be here. It was supposed to be temporary. It still is temporary, but just so very grateful. Especially after the first year where I had so many crises one after another. And then this past year, I've been here for a year yesterday, or a year Friday. And I cried. And part of that came from me asking myself, what do I wish I had done yesterday? I wish I had said thank you to the church people. I wish I had said thank you. And so I started sending text messages to people, thanking them individually. And then I said, okay, what I wish I had done is thank everybody. So today I went on the record and I thanked everybody. And that one simple question, what do I wish I had done yesterday? I wish I had sent that text message to, it's a remarkably simple question that this is not my question. I didn't come up with it. It's from Tim Ferriss. If you know Tim Ferriss, he wrote the 4-Hour Work Week and many other books, world record holder for Argentine tango spinning. Person after my own heart, 377 tree hugs, now 500 across 22 states. Let me make sure I have all my, yes, okay, so I have all the journal prompts. There's 3 journal prompts there. Let's see your comments, and then I'll move along because we've been on here a long time. Okay, any prompts on forgiving yourself? Nisi's asking. You know, Nisi, off the top of my head, I can't think of any, but I'm going to write myself a note. Self-forgiveness is a challenge. Does anyone in the house have a thought? If you could put in the comments for Nisi. I will go through my records, but even better, I will ask myself this question in my writing practice. So, okay, there's Nisi again. Okay. You know, what's funny or not funny, Nisi, is I did the same thing when I went to work for the county. And I worked there for 5 years. And the only reason I left was because 2 clients threatened my life in 2 months. Yeah, so I hear you, I feel you, I understand. It's more than 3 questions, Sheila. There are some live streams on the Let Our Words Flow Creative Community. I will tag you because back in the summer, I went live every day in there and wrote. And so I basically did the process in the group. And so I can link to you there. I change it up though, but primarily the same. The questions are I'll just go through them though quickly, but I can remember off the top of my head. It's what did I do yesterday? So what is an action I took? What did I see? What did I hear? What did I smell? What do I wish I had done? That's a new one. What do I want to do today? Today I affirm. So that's an affirmation of some sort. Lately, I'm doing chakra affirmations. So I'm doing it every day. I do a different affirmation according to the chakras. There's 7 of them. That works really well throughout the week. What's the best choice I can make for my business? And what question am I living today? Go through that 3 times. At the end, what question am I living today becomes the foundation for the free flow writing. Yeah, just Google chakra affirmations. I Google chakra affirmations. In fact, I can put these resources in the Let Our Words Flow Creative Community is where y'all are talking. I'm not sure, but I'll look around. I won't be able to do it till tomorrow. I'm setting a boundary because after this, I'm going to go to sleep. And if I start sharing resources now, I'll probably stay up for another 3 hours. And I need to be strong and smart for Monday. So yeah, but if you Google chakra affirmations, you'll come up with a bunch of different resources, but I'll post some too. And then I let my words flow for 5 minutes. And sometimes I stay with that question. Sometimes I go elsewhere. On the little template that I use, I also have a quote. This month, I'm using one from A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, which is look at everything as if you're seeing it for the first time or the last time. And I also put my word of the year, which is receiving, my word of the month, which is grooving. And lately I've had a question that I am reflecting on for the week. This week's question that I'm reflecting on is, what helps you get up in the morning? Like what is something that would make you excited to get up every morning? Good, very good. Nisi just said that she stopped accepting calls after a certain time. That is so smart. And that's a great, that if you're, something I've talked about before is boundary practice. If you're uncomfortable with boundaries, is to start with one, saying, I won't take calls after 9 p.m. I won't take calls before 9 a.m. It's so funny because my sister, by the way, she sent me a text this morning to reinsert herself into my life. And I think she probably did it at 9 a.m. Sunday morning, because in the Jordan family, old school, there was no contact between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. I mean, between the hours of 9 p.m. and 9 a.m., no contact. And so when we had a huge moment, I won't go into all the details, but there was a really huge moment. And I called my mom on a Sunday morning at 9 a.m. and I said, Mom, you're not going to believe this. We need to call Sue. And I had not called Sue in years. So I called Sue and I said, hey, Sue, it's Julie, and I have Mom with me, and we have something we want to share with you. And Sue said that as soon as she saw the phone ring at 9:02 a.m. on Sunday, she was like, this is something big. And when she heard that it was me and Mom, that I had made a three-way call, she's like, okay, what is this? So I'm guessing that, because I got the text after church, so it was around noon that I got it, a little bit after noon. So I think that's kind of funny. Thank you, Michelle. I am true to my mental health. Mental health care is so, so, so very important. All right. So I've been on here for almost 40 minutes, which is why I didn't want to share my screen and go super deeply on all of these. I will continue to share on these topics because I think they'll be really helpful. And especially for someone who is a free spirit, as I am, to tell you all how much these boundaries with love for myself and for others has been extremely helpful. And also the setting up my schedule helps me to create and keep my identity as a creative entrepreneur while I am also an employee, so weird, at a school, while I am also caregiving in a different way, babysitting my grandbaby 3 days a week, actually. So I was thinking today, I went from having no employer and no one to be accountable for certain hours of the day, to working 6 days a week for 7 hours, which has required me to even up my ante more with my creative work. And so I have some stuff coming up. The book is done. Some of you helped me with that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Anna. And here's, thank you. We'll keep talking about the boundaries. Love you too so very much. And yes, we'll work on boundaries with love. If you have questions you don't want to talk about publicly, y'all, please ask me. Thank you, Michelle. And this again is Nisi. I remember you finally from Heart Tribes too. I still miss Perry Girls and Periscope. Those were the good old live streaming days. So thank you all for those of you who've hung out with me for all this time. Yay. I look forward to connecting next Sunday. I have a topic. I can't remember what I decided that was. And I didn't put it on my old school desk calendar that y'all can't see. But thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. And I'll be here next Sunday at the same time. And my schedule next Sunday won't be so crazy, so I won't be quite so tired. The ironic thing is, whenever I live stream, I always feel much more invigorated afterwards. And I'm going to hold my own self-love, extra good mental health, self-parenting of Julie. You need to put your laundry in the dryer. Go upstairs and get ready for bed. I'm going to take a shower. Set up my clothes for tomorrow. I already have my breakfast ready. I have my lunch ready. So when I get up tomorrow morning, it's all done. Free spirited Julie wouldn't have done that. Still free-spirited Julie, but free-spirited Julie with great love and honor for the work that she's doing and who she wants to be on the planet. A whole different ballgame. Thank y'all for being here. I love you all. So grateful that you're in my life. I look forward to seeing you around. If you're in the Let Your Words Flow community, I'm very thrilled that you're there. Be watching JJS Writing Camp for a ton of content coming your way. Good Morning Love will begin again tomorrow on my Facebook page. Pre-written. Tomorrow's is pre-written. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.